Good afternoon. Dear colleagues, dear friends, good afternoon. And first of all, apologize for the short delay what we had with Chairman Weber on another meeting. I'm very glad to welcome all of you to our yearly EPP Western Balkan conference. This is an opportunity to show again our full commitment for enlargement and to show as well that the EPP group in the European Parliament is in the front line for enlargement, pushing the institutions, the member states, all stakeholders in the direction for faster and efficient enlargement process for all candidate countries. We have a lot of challenges globally with the war in Ukraine, with now, unfortunately, the war in the Middle East, with authoritarian regimes worldwide. And this is a new motivation to be even more efficient and more faster in the integration enlargement process. For sure, there's always the devils which are in the details, and we go deeper to each of the cases. We see how many obstacles are there on the ground. But this is our common challenge together to overcome these obstacles and to show also to our citizens that the European Union is providing a lot of added value for the daily life of our citizens, and not only the free movement, but much more the whole freedoms of which the citizens can enjoy with the membership of in the European Union. The integration of the Western Balkans cannot succeed without ensuring media standards and laws. Last month, together with the Balkan Free Media Initiative, we identified the channels funding propaganda and foreign influence. This is a very important topic. We here in the European Parliament, we had a special committee of foreign interference in our democratic processes in the democratic society. And this point is extremely important because our competitors, if you like Russia and China, are also very active in the region. I'm very glad to see here with me our chairman, Manfred Weber, our vice-chairman, Rasa, Juknevičienė, sorry for my pronunciation, and for sure also our commissioner and a good friend of mine, Iliana Ivanova. I'm really very happy to be together with my friends next to me. First of all, I would like to give the floor to Chairman Manfred Weber for his short introduction and welcome. Please, Manfred, the floor is yours.
Yes, Andrey, ladies and gentlemen, Rasa, Iliana, dear colleagues, dear friends, I want to first of all thank Andrey for his standing commitment to the Western Balkan process. That we have this conference on a yearly basis is a special thing in this Parliament, that we are, as EPP group, are counting and caring every year about the development, that we are investing so much, is really deeply rooted in our common understanding about the importance of the process. And that's why it's great to see also so many MEPs being here in the room now, taking care. I see David McGuinness as chair of the AFET committee. I see Michael Gala as our coordinator in the field. A lot of colleagues who care about individual countries and have their knowledge there. So that's great to see this common effort, this common engagement. Also my presence to underline that it's not only based on the interests of our experts, but based on the political will of the whole group and of the party is what I want to confirm with my presence in this regard. We are honored that so many high-level speakers are investing in the dialogue here on the EPP level. I'm really grateful for this. I want to thank you for your time, for your readiness to contribute. On the enlargement perspective, we are basing today's discussion is based on the enlargement report of the Commission last week. So where we had, let me say, the positioning from the Commission. We are preparing now the next European Council in December. You know, the EPP is currently with 12 states and head of states and government, the leading force on the council table as well. So we have more than Socialists and Renew together have on the council table representatives. So that shows the strength of EPP, but also our responsibility to prepare the right ground, the right decisions in front of us. That is also part of this conference today, that we consider what do we expect in the next upcoming weeks from Commission and also from the Council side. For us as a political family, I want to underline that there is, thanks God, I have to say, a growing understanding that enlargement is not only about the details of the negotiation boxes, it's a geopolitical question in front of us. There is a growing understanding in all formats of the discussion, having the historic moment in mind, which we are currently facing. This is important. I want to underline that we are also recognizing that this goes hand in hand with our readiness to reform ourselves. That's part of the truth. And it's also, we cannot only ask our friends to reform and to do the necessary steps, but we also have to do our homework. And another aspect for me as a party leader is also to underline that enlargement can only be successful. We have to convince also our citizens in Netherlands, in Germany, in France about this process. We can only convince them if we give them the assurance that this process will once end. I can easily convince my citizens in Bavaria, I'm from Bavaria, look to the map, and then you see Western Balkan is Europe, and we have to include them. And the people there are Europeans. They are founded on the common history and the common values and what we have as a European heritage in our mind. But on the other hand, they are sometimes a little bit doubtful about the process. And again, I can convince them, I'm sure about this, when I tell them, look on the map, look to the values, look to the people, they are Europeans, let's include them, let's finalize the enlargement. But finalizing enlargement means also to set a kind of an end to the process, and for us this means Turkey cannot join the European Union. So to be clear on these aspects, where the final borders of the European Union will be at the end, is important political messaging for convincing people in France, in Germany, in a lot of countries where we need finally the support for doing so. I would love to see, and I had the chance already to talk individually with some of you in the last hours and days, I would love to see that, first of all, we must convince individual people about the right approach. That's why the process we are in must arrive in the daily life of citizens, about roaming and other aspects. So it must arrive in the daily life of citizens to see really the advantage of this process for their life. And hopefully we can really contribute to the development in a way that all the words I hear from time to time, that escalation, even violence, sometimes even war is thinkable again, that this is probably a warning signal that we have to increase our efforts to do the necessary steps in front of us to really come to reasonable results. EPP is a key partner, is a key party on European level who is committed to this process. You can count on us, and let's do it together. This conference can contribute. Thanks so much, and have good debates.
Thank you very much, Chairman Weber, dear Manfred. Now I would like to give the floor to our Vice-Chairwoman of the EPP Group and Chair of the Working Group in the EPP for External Policy, Rasa Juknevičienė.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrey. Thank you, Manfred, Commissioner, everybody around this room. It's my great pleasure to speak in front of the people, or especially of those countries we lived separated for so long time. Myself, I was born in occupied by Soviet Union, Lithuania, and you know, to go to visit former Yugoslavia, as at that time the name was of the country, it was permission only for very special people, not ordinary. I don't say about the so-called Western countries. So we lived in total separation, everybody, and today I am so proud to speak in front of you about so important issues in this historical moment. Because what happened last week when the Commission proposed or made their proposal, their evaluation on enlargement, it is really will be, I think, in textbooks of many countries, because it happened really in a very crucial, important time. Also, yesterday, I share very much what our chairman just mentioned about EPP commitments and EPP. We are ourselves declared that enlargement will be one of the most important priorities for our group. We would like to be the main drivers of enlargement starting from today. But yesterday, EPP party, in particular this room, I think, yes, in this room, adopted important declaration where enlargement is mentioned in very clear wording, and I am proud that it is our common position on enlargement today in written document, not only in our speeches. So this in front of us, we have this great geopolitical job, and sometimes I feel that we are almost in the same line with the fathers of those who founded the European Union, because what will happen in the next 10 years, I hope that less than 10 years it will take this process, both Eastern Partnership countries and Western Balkan countries, until we will see you as full members of the European Union. That is very much related to what our fathers of the European Union wanted to see. Completion of European continent. At that time was not possible completion of the whole European continent, but today we have to follow their guidelines and we have to do our job, our generations, we must do this. So I was elected to European Parliament 2019 with my Lithuanian experience on both enlargements, EU and NATO. It took 3 years for us to negotiate for membership when negotiations started, and we finalized them. But also I came here with very clear priority of myself to do as much as possible for the next steps of enlargement, including your region. And I got some disappointment in the very beginning. Because when I was listening speeches of our leaders of European Commission, European Council, and commissioners and others, I realized that in Western Balkans we are in some kind of stagnation of the process. Many words, but not much political will to go forward. Maybe from both sides, but from European Union side as well. And the same, even worse for Eastern Partnership countries, for Ukraine, Moldova. Those countries were not mentioned in enlargement context at all at that time. And what happened now? Of course, everybody, be it Bosniaks, be it Croats in Bosnia Herzegovina, be it people from North Macedonia, be it people from Moldova and other countries, Georgia, we have to be thankful to brave Ukrainians that they made this breakthrough, and they are icebreakers. They changed everything. They changed understanding on our side here in European Union as well, because very few wanted to speak, I repeat myself, about enlargement at all. Today we are here, we are at this point, historical point, and we have to think now about very clear steps forward, about very clear roadmap, how to do everything not to be blocked again in new stagnation, especially for Western Balkans, and to do from both sides. Next year we will have election, of course, it will be some break. We will have new commission. I would like very much to see Commissioner for Enlargement from EPP side with very strong determination to push those processes. And this is what we have to find answers also today from your experts, from this conference, and I welcome very much and I'm ready to listen what will your speakers give us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rasa, for this welcoming. And now very proud and honored that together with us is our commissioner from Bulgaria, Iliana Ivanova, very good friend, and she's Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth. And she agreed to give us some information what the Commission and what we as the European Union can do even before the full accession of the candidate countries in the European Union. Please, Iliana, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Chair, dear Andrey, dear Vice Chair, dear Rasa, lieber Manfred, Your Excellency, President Bradara, dear Ministers, esteemed members of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, it is really a pleasure and an honor for me to be at this conference today, and thank you, Andrey, for the opportunity to address you. Today, indeed, as Manfred mentioned, we meet just a week after the Commission's publication on the enlargement report, an important milestone for the EU and obviously for the Western Balkans, and the EPP's unwavering support for the EU accession of the Western Balkans has been truly a beacon for hope for the region, and I commend actually your never giving up attitude towards this prospect. Last week's report reaffirmed the significance of the Western Balkans region for the EU thanks to their potential in knowledge creation, technology development, sustainable growth. Aligning the EU's priorities with those of the Western Balkans is not only beneficial but also natural and necessary step of both sides. The integration of the Western Balkans into the European Union is a major political and economic endeavor, crucial for the stability and the development of the region, and collaboration in research, innovation, education, culture, and youth sectors is obviously, from my standpoint, invaluable in helping this integration. And I'm really proud to say that our cooperation with the Western Balkans in these areas that I just mentioned is truly a resounding success story. The region's full association with key EU programs such as Horizon Europe, Erasmus+, Creative Europe, shows its commitment to strengthening capacities. This is obviously crucial for sustainable and economic growth and also for job creation. In Horizon 2020 only, this is the previous framework program, more than 900 Western Balkan researchers and innovators competitively gained 160 million euros. This is not nothing. These figures have seen a remarkable increase also in Horizon Europe, with 83.7 million euros already benefiting over 371 researchers and innovators in just the first 2 years. Remarkably, 15 million euros are aiding 54 SMEs, showcasing the full potential the region can embrace these opportunities offered by the European research and innovation areas. For the first time, also all 6 Western Balkans economies are fully associated to the EU's framework program for research and innovation. But it's important to note that the Western Balkans participation in Horizon Europe is budget neutral to the EU member states, with any financial imbalances automatically corrected through annual contributions. We also face common challenges such as climate change, healthcare, environmental sustainability, digital transition, social inclusion, and this fragmented scientific landscape and structural differences in the R&I sector highlight the need for transformation towards a knowledge-based, innovation-driven economy in the Balkans. The Western Balkans Agenda on Innovation, Research, Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, launched in October already 2021, outlines these long-term strategies for cooperation in those areas. Obviously, our actions complement the Western Balkans strategic development in higher education, in research and technology sectors, and this agenda is yielding already tangible results. Also in the area of education, here I would like to underline, because research and innovation cannot go without strong education, we encourage Western Balkans to enhance inclusivity, reduce low achievement in basic skills. This is a problem we face also within our member states. There was one Council recommendation on pathways to school success, which serves as a reference policy tool for policymakers, for practitioners in the region. Just a few hours ago, I presented our proposal of the Commission for a Council recommendation, Europe on the Move, aiming to bolster exactly mobility within Europe, and also striving for establishing the EU as a premier destination for learning worldwide. Our enhanced partnership with the Western Balkans has allowed institutions from the region to fully participate also in the European Universities Initiative, a very important one, and this collaboration builds on trust and mutual respect, delivering obviously the strategic goals of the Western Balkans agenda. Youth engagement, cultural cooperation, I will just mention them, but they're also extremely important. Just allow me to conclude, Andrey, by saying that let us collectively, truly, indeed, foster education, research, innovation in and for the Western Balkans, strengthening our partnership for a prosperous and stable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Iliana. Indeed, a lot of good things can happen before the full accession of the candidate countries, and this integration is continuing, and I hope will be even more intensified in the next months and years to come. Now we decided to have two panels of our discussion here. The first panel, we call it On the Road to the European Union Accession, and the second panel, Challenges and Discourse in the Region. So I would like to invite the first panelist to come here in front, and they know who are there. This is Mr. Admir Šahmanović, Jorida Tabaku, Jehona Lushaku, and Dragan Lazarov. Please, can you join us in front? We can change then the name tags. Please. Please. The idea is to hear from you how you see this road to the EU accession in your respective countries, and I would like to give first the floor to Mr. Admir Šahmanović. He's State Secretary at the Ministry of Capital Investment of Montenegro, and we hope and we expect from the new government to even more intensify the European part of Montenegro, and we need, as we mentioned before in our discussion before, good examples to be followed. I hope Montenegro will be such a success example and very fast success example. Please, the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kovatchev. It is my tremendous pleasure to be here today and to share our concerns and the situation that we have in our lovely country. So, to be quite honest, I did not prepare my speech today because I wanted to speak out of my heart, because I feel it. I feel integration in my blood, because I've been dealing with integration since we have become the date for the status of the country of candidate. So I was a member of various negotiation chapter groups, and most recently I was heading two negotiation chapter groups for energy and transport, which are, by the way, best ranked by the latest progress report. Unfortunately, we had some changes in 2020 that should should brought better things for our country, but we lost three years of EU integration. Somehow, between the political tensions, political instability, somehow all those activities, then they put in background European integrations, and it seemed that nobody cared about integrations as it is. And as a result of that, we have our institutions collapsing. We have unfunctional constitutional. We had constitutional court not functioning a very long time. Our prosecutor office is also on the acting status, and also our parliament was not functional. We had the technical government lasting for almost a year and a half. So that all brought us in one situation that, from the situation being a light tower of Western Balkans, being a front runner of European integrations, we have somehow managed to block the integrations as a fact that we changed since 2012. We changed 8 or 9 times the team for negotiations, is telling us that we are doing something wrong, actually. Now we have a new government in place. Actually, I'm not anymore state secretary since last Friday. I was dismissed, but I'm happy. I'm happy that is like that, because now we have new government formed last week, 2 weeks ago actually, and we are very concerned because certain constituents of the new government are openly praising Russian politics. So that's why we are concerned. We want to believe that this government will be dedicated to the EU goals, but yet still we have to see it. So all this situation made us to come to one point that public administration is not more so attractive for professionals because of its instability, and we have a huge brain drain from our country. And that's why we have our institutions actually collapsing. Hesitation of European Union in our region has left the space to some other political structures, some other dark forces to intervene and to be offering us some presence that comes without huge bureaucracy, as it is the case with European Union. So we were fighting all the time against the Chinese loans, against the Russian influence, but I'm afraid that we will need much more support than we got. We see that Ukraine has a huge support of European Union. We would like to see something similar also for Western Balkans. And how to do that? Investments are a good plan. But let's think about this growth plan is linked also with loans, and our fiscal space is very much limited. We have also to think about this. Empowering the presence of European Union can also be done through bilateral cooperation between ministers from European Union, from the countries from the European Union. We highly appreciated every time when some high official from European Commission is paying a visit to our country, but I think it would be better to have also those bilateral cooperation, those bilateral relations, so we can learn directly from our colleagues from European Union and to additionally strengthen bilateral cooperation. Freshly coming from the transport area, I think that our transport infrastructure is heavily unutilized and it suffers lack of investments. Besides of this, we need to utilize this structure by attracting economic routes. So with all this geopolitical happening recently, I believe that all the countries in the Central Europe are looking for southern corridors. This could be our opportunity, but we would need the support of European Union in order to attract big companies, to attract economic corridors. So that's how we could utilize our railways, our ports, and what is most important, to save them. Because there are some rumors saying that Russians are very much interested in our ports, in our airports. As we know, the good thing is that we are a NATO member and we are somehow protected. And when it comes about the critical infrastructure that should be saved in the national interest. I don't want to sound very sad right now, but it is the situation that we have to take care about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And indeed, we are waiting to see the new government of Montenegro, how they will act on the European scene, and hopefully they will deliver what they verbally said, that they're pro-European and like to be faster in the European integration. Now I would like to give the floor to Madam Jorida Tabaku, the Chairwoman of European Integration Committee in the Parliament of Albania. Please, Jorida, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrey. Thanks to also everyone who made the full room here today. We have a lot of friends of Albania here who know and understand us very well, who have contributed, and I see Mr. Kefalogiannis has joined us, chairing the parliamentary joint committee with the European Parliament, among other friends, and is a unique opportunity to discuss on some of the challenges that Albania, particularly, but also the Western Balkans are experiencing right now. As I strolled down memory lane, I remember myself started talking and working on this process around 14 years ago. A lot of things have changed. Albania was about to open accession negotiations 14 years ago, but this has not changed. We are still about ready to open accession negotiations after 14 years. This is to show you that things have changed in our countries, some for the good and some for the best. But European integration has not, unfortunately, been used as a tool to change our countries, and has not been used as a tool to deal with the challenges that the region has. A lot of you might have read the progress report that came out last week, explaining in details what are the challenges. We wouldn't have been dwelling with challenges in corruption, in elections, in foreign interference in my country, and most of all migration, if accession negotiations were opened a long time ago. We discuss with all of our friends what are the specific challenges that Albania is experiencing right now, and how can the European integration process be used as a positive motivation for the people of our countries. In some cases, we have also exported our problems, and migration is a problem that we have exported to your countries. And I believe that Albania has not used, again, all the tools at disposal to deal with migration, to deal with corruption, and to deal with the specific challenges in the country. Opening of accession negotiations and the European integration process, as Mr. Weber said before, is now not only a geostrategic need for the region. It's becoming a security issue. It's becoming a security threat for some of our countries, and Admir here explained also the foreign influences. For 10 years, long 10 years, Albania has been discussing on do we have a date or we don't have a date to open accession negotiations, while the discussion could have been totally different. What reforms should be made in the country, what is needed to be approved in Parliament, what is needed to really change. And we have not been able to do this because of the stagnation of this process in the country, because of internal reasons, but also the last reasons because of a decision of the Commission which is not yet being implemented. So I want first of all to thank the EPP group for the hundreds of resolutions, discussions, support on the Western Balkans and Albania specifically, along with the issues that the EPP brought to the table last year are now being discussed in the Commission. Is EU enlargement ready? Need the EU institutions to be reformed, or only the Western Balkans to be reformed? Is it now needed to discuss the issue of qualified majority or unanimous vote on enlargement issues? These issues were brought forward last year by AFET, but by our good friends Mr. McAllister and Mr. Galler. The Commission is bringing them now forward. So the EPP has been at the front of this process, trying to use integration as a tool for change. The Commission has now changed the approach. They are saying you do the reforms, we found them. You do the change, we found the change. And in this process, the issue of integration before membership is becoming imperative. President of the Council presented some weeks ago the 2030 date, which is not a new date for the region. It is coming from the Thessaloniki summit a long time ago. It is a date that is being discussed, but still, it's a merit-based process, and change should happen in our countries. I believe that in this process, content is much more important than appearance. Content should prevail to form, and real change in terms of putting the citizen to the center of this process is imperative, and this is what also the growth plan is trying to do. We heard here the Commissioner on innovation and research explaining the Erasmus Plus Horizon opportunities, which are a great opportunity for the region, but the region can fully exploit them only from January next year, when Kosovo will have visa liberalization. Kosovo has not been able to fully exploit these opportunities. So we cannot let, in the Western Balkans, islands or questions on, first of all, profits of this process, but also this process makes sense only if the all Western Balkans moves towards it in a speedy way. I want to thank Mr. Kovatchev because he has been in Tirana several times to discuss on these issues, and he knows the specific issues that Albania has, and he has been a promoter of opening of accession negotiations, which I believe should have been due some time ago, and I hope they will opening of first chapters will happen before the end of this year. And for us as an opposition, because I represent the opposition, it's very important because we need to talk about issues. We don't need to talk about a date. We need to talk about what we can do to change the situation in Albania, and I believe this is the same question for other Western Balkan countries. Some of our countries have gone above and beyond. North Macedonia changed the name. Kosovo is moving towards a dialogue with Serbia with hopefully the intention of mutual recognition. Kosovo is a reality that cannot be changed in the region. And we have to deal with it. We cannot change past, we cannot change history, and we have all of us in the region should accept this. This is also the meaning of the integration that our citizens need. First of all, integration between ourselves, and this is a good signal that the growth plan and the new growth strategy is giving, the regional aspect of it, and then finally the integration into the Union. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share these thoughts, but also for the opportunity to have direct contact with a lot of you who are bearing with us, who are having patience with us, but also are asking that our countries really change. And speaking also on behalf of someone who has been working with EPP colleagues for a long time now, I can assure you that in our countries, EPP is considered one of the guiding forces of enlargement, and I hope this will continue to be also after elections of next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jorida. I like it what you said, that history we cannot change. We should know the history, but we can look forward for the present and for the future. I would like to give now the floor to Jehona Lushaku, President, Democratic League of Kosovo, LDK, Woman International, Secretary of LDK. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, dear guests of EPP, dear colleagues. Let me say, it's it's my pleasure to speak today here, not on behalf of my party only, but also as somebody who is working with young people at the university and who has the impression of the European integration from other perspectives. And I would like to focus my speech on how European integration and EU could have a better impact on the citizens in a country like Kosovo. For these that don't know, Kosovo and EU have a very interesting relationship. We do collaborate. Kosovo has a lot of assistance received throughout the years from the countries of EU and EU itself through different programs. But in the integration process, while political issues, we are conditioned for reaching agreements which are very hard, and sometimes it lets us not progress in the integration path. And this is one of the biggest challenges while going through this all conditions that are coming through for our country. I should say that in the last enlargement package that has been published, Kosovo does not receive any status. So all the other countries have received the candidate status. Kosovo remains only a potential country, not recognized from 5 countries, member states. And also, still, the citizens of Kosovo cannot freely move in the European area. This is, in fact, an example which has impacted a lot in the society, did block for many years, did not let the youth go out and see democratic countries as these from EU and receive more practices. And I think this is a case, an unsuccessful case, which EU has unfortunately done. Let me go to the package and say that Kosovo has received a report as an evaluation, which is speaking or identifying a lot of challenges and have reached a little progress in all the fields, which is unfortunately so because we are governed by a government which has a huge majority of 51%, but could not produce concrete policies and reach the concrete successes. For the first time, the democratic principles were in question mark from the report. There is a threat of the media, the free media was in question mark, and also rule of law, the fight against corruption, for instance. There is less progress in the fight against corruption. What the citizens, in fact, have believed really that this will not be the case. But me now, as somebody following the discourse that has been used from the political party which is governing in Kosovo with a huge majority, cannot produce concrete policies because of the populist discourse. Because they were throughout the years using this only to reach and to build sentiments, but rather to produce any concrete progress. Education, no progress in education, no progress in health system, no progress on help to the citizens to deal with the economic crisis, which was obviously a case in Kosovo, where people are struggling with also laws which puts the people under pressure and also not covering the crisis. It is like very paradox how a government in Kosovo, which has a majority, cannot fulfill the legislative agenda in the parliament, which is a very basic one, but also the laws which were required previously from EU and which are crucial for the integration path. As somebody that would like to have a better impact, that EU has a better impact in Kosovo, I would say that in this package, but also having considered all the programs that are existing in Western Balkans, I think that there is a missing approach, a gender approach in the programs. Females, while having all the migration in the Western Balkan countries, but especially in Kosovo, the majority of youth are women's. And I have to say that only less than 20% of the women in Kosovo are part of the labor market, working, because of the lack of kindergartens, because of the lack of jobs. But I think that EU could could do much more with the programs for the women in the region. And I see here that this is completely missing in all the EU programs. I see also the Commissioner mentioned the Erasmus Plus program. I have been 4 years National Program Director of Erasmus Plus in Kosovo, and I know that a country as Kosovo does not have the capabilities, even at the university level, to absorb the funds. And this is in fact tragic because we have many times required or addressed this because the criteria of absorbing the funds are so complicated and are so, how to say, applications are so complicated that universities and the institutions many times cannot absorb. And also this is tragic because some countries, as Serbia, for instance, that has built the capacities shown, previously, they are absorbing the most of the funds, even in the research and education. I would say that European Commission in the enlargement packages could make much more in the connectivity, networking of the countries, and investing more in youth and females, women. So I end up here, and I'm open for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jehona. And now, last but not least in this panel, Mr. Dragan Lazarov. He's managing partner of the law office Lazarov, former head of the legal department of the government of North Macedonia. And we have a lot of sympathy with North Macedonia, liking that they start as well with Albania together the accessions. But as I mentioned at the beginning, the devil is always in the details. Why? And we hear a lot of burdens which need to be overcome on this way. Mr. Lazarov, give us your perspective or your read of the situation in Macedonia.
Thank you, Chairman Kovatchev, President Weber, Vice-Chairman Juknevičienė, Mr. Kovatchev, esteemed MEPs, guests. Thank you very much for hosting this conference. Thank you for having me here. Very grateful and thankful for a full room and the chance to speak in front of these esteemed guests here. We heard a lot of positive things. I'm especially pleased and grateful for the encouraging words of the EU Commissioner Ivanova. Of course, belonging to the EPP family, for me personally, for the last 20 years, we can all assert to and we can all agree that the EPP has been a very strong promoter to the EU integration and accession of the whole region, of all countries individually, for full membership into the EU. Of course, we have our challenges. Of course, we have the occasional arguments, but that is for families of four. So being part of a family understands having the occasional deep argumentation on a certain level, but it's important to keep talking and to keep discussing and resolve things where they belong to, in such forums like this, in such places like the European Parliament, in bilateral talks, multilateral talks. Belonging to this, I would say, more professional panel on this conference, I would like to bring a bit more realistic view of the things on the status of the accession, especially of my country, and the status that we are currently in. And being realistic sometimes understands being quite, I would say, self-critical to an extent. The European Commission's new growth plan, it's a very sound one. It's a very big one, 6 billion euros. It's a substantial amount, out of which a big portion is grants, which will never be returned. The others will be given out as loans, but still, the aim to boost our economies and to grow, to get our countries or economies closer together in order to prepare them for full accession I would say it's a brilliant plan. It's very simple. We have to put it into realistic, as I said, realistic economic perspectives just to understand what we are talking about here. So our desire and our path and our goals to achieve full membership understands full accessing into the economic, socio-economic and cultural heart of the Union, the essence of the Union. That, in economic perspective, means granting access to the second largest world economy, which is the EU's. All of our, in GDP terms, all of our economies combined together comprise, I would say, I think the last numbers are 1 to 150 times larger economy than ours. So accessing to such markets for us would mean a very heavy task. So it would mean a privilege to be able to come into the European market, but it would also be very stressful for companies and citizens who will also allow for Europe to come into our region. That's why achieving cohesion, achieving integration, achieving togetherness in the region is of extreme importance. I've worked in a very dynamic, technologically based, advanced businesses such as the ICT industry, such as the capital, such as the... So these are industries that really understand and have been talking about this for years now. Imagine all of our ICT companies combined together can never be even partially competitive to the large competitors in those areas such as India, China, US. So it's only achievable if we act together as a market, if we present ourselves as a region out there, no matter be it on the European market or even in the world markets. Capital has the ability to move freely. It doesn't recognize physical borders. It doesn't need a passport. It doesn't need a railway. It moves with a couple of clicks. So attending many regional conferences and events, especially in these two sectors, so in the ICT industry and the capital markets and the financial industry, it's quite understandable. We can only be competitive and we can only be prepared as a whole if we go and we act together. That is why the European Commission's new growth plan is a very sound one, it's a very solid one, and it fully prepares our countries, our systems for the full integration. We have all felt the benefits of EU membership through, especially for Macedonia, it was the Stabilization and Association Agreement, which allowed for free movement of goods, abolishment of certain customs tariffs, and the free movement of people. Through the visa liberalization, that became extremely important and actually presented what European Union market and what the European Union itself represents to our people, to our citizens. So this, of course, requires determination, dedication, strong political will, but also long-term strategic planning. I would like to raise one question that is always here, and that is of course, the rule of law. And here it comes the part where I have to be really self-critical, as coming from a country in which this year's report of the European Commission for the first time noted there was no progress in this area, in the judicial reform and the judicial independence. In this dynamic world, no progress, it doesn't mean status quo, it means regression. It means you're moving backward because all of the others are moving beside you very quickly. But this is not something that, we should not regard this as something that is required from the European Commission or the Council or the Parliament from us, but this is a home task, a homework, a task that we need to do primarily for us, primarily for our citizens. And putting this again into the regional perspective, this is something that concerns also all of our businesses. Because if we look at our portfolios as individually as countries, Yes, the stock exchange comes primarily with our European partners. It's usually Germany, Austria, Netherlands, France, Italy. But you have a huge portion of SMEs that comprise the real business, that comprise the movement between our countries. And those are the ones who feel these needs, and those are the ones most affected of this. And trust me, the rule of law, rather the lack of rule of law costs, and it costs heavily. Yes, justice or the lack of justice is really expensive. It's expensive in monetary costs, of social impact, in the future. It affects your future. We can even put a number. Currently, against Macedonia, there are pending international investment cases in the total amount of damages in the amount of 1.5 billion euros. That is a substantial number. And those are all cases that are based on allegations of misconduct of the domestic institutions. That is serious. But this is something that also affects not only these large scales, but mostly these SMEs that are here in between. Those are Bulgarian companies, Serbian Kosovo companies, Macedonian companies in Serbia, in Kosovo, in Bulgaria, and so on. They need immediately, they need cutting of bureaucracy, lesser administration, more judicial security, I would say, or certainty, stronger rule of law, in order to make them work more cohesive and more together. In that, yeah, I'm almost finished. Yeah. In that way, we promote, we encourage exchanging more of our people, more movement, and in that way, that is the way how they connect, that is the way how they interact, how they exchange culture, how we promote peace and stability in the region. I will conclude by thanking once again the EPP group for hosting this important event. And I will have one message, that is failing to prepare is preparing to fail. If we do not prepare ourselves very good, in the road or in the path of accession, if we fail, it will not be EU who will be disrupted. It will be our countries, it will be our citizens, our economies will suffer. That's why we need serious reforms now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Dragan Lazarov. So this is, dear colleagues, dear friends, so we combine the second and the first panel together, and then we will have the debate. Sorry for this short interruption to have a technical discussion here, how we are going further. I'm sorry again for this short interruption, and I'm really very thankful. That is not easy. I'm really very thankful that we have on this panel, all of them, good friends and collaborator in the one issue to go further with the European integration on Kosovo, on Bosnia and Herzegovina, on Serbia. And Kosovo is a reality, and this is reality in our world, and this should be recognized by everybody. This is what I would like to say at the beginning, that we are here to go further and to give the opportunity in the EPP, everybody to objectively provide their read of the situation and how we can go further. This is why I would like to ask first Lidija Bradara, the President of the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thank you very much, Lidija, to be with us, to hear from you your read of the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina and how you see the next steps. And then to my other colleagues and friends from Kosovo and from Serbia to hear the same. And I'm really extremely grateful that you are here on this panel together with me. Thank you extremely very much.
Hvala vam, poštovani gospodine Kovačev.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kovatchev, colleagues from the European family of And let me also to congratulate and thank the EPP on your support for the European perspective of Bosnia and Herzegovina, starting from your support to the candidate status from December last year to your recommendation to opening negotiations last week. Unfortunately, our country, is almost a synonym for nationalism, and our region is known for tense relations among neighbors. Our common history is very complex, and this is a fact that also weighs heavy on our mutual relationships within the Bosnia and Herzegovina and in the region. On the other hand, our ambitions for the future are big and equal. We all want to be part of the large European family, and we believe that our place is firmly there. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, we are a complex country of Dayton architecture, of 3 constituent peoples and citizens who live there in 2 entities, 10 counties, and 1 district. And we all want to be permanent members of the EU, maybe to varying degrees, but we still do aim in that direction. So this is our common trait. In the Croatian Democratic Union of Bosnia and Herzegovina that I represent here, we see the solution or solutions which will bring us closer to our end goal, and this is Brussels. We do not have hidden motives, and when we speak about European values that we accept and live as a people. For Croatian people in Bosnia and Herzegovina, following the common security policy of the EU to 100% is no hard task. It is our priority, not only today, but for many years now already. We have also approached very seriously to other priorities and conditions that have been set before us. The reforms in the rule of law, public administration, fight against organized crime and corruption alike. However, the position of the Croatian constituent people as the smallest people is still endangered. The will of Croatian people in Bosnia and Herzegovina has been violated in 4 electoral cycles. Also, the elections to the House of Peoples of the Federation, where Bosnian politicians say they are Croats or Serbs, and that's how they gain their seats in the House. Unfortunately, this does not help mutual understanding in Bosnia and Herzegovina among constituent peoples and other citizens. This mutual context is not good for deep reforms that are ahead of us, and certainly is not a context where it is easy to promote conciliation and common future. The efforts to assimilate minority constituent people for a higher goal is not in line with the EU spirit. Most of the countries that are represented here know what history has brought with such efforts for the majority to control the minority. So we feel the effects of this. So our primary task is never to allow anybody not to be able to choose freely. So we need urgent changes to the electoral law as our biggest priority also in the Commission's report. I also have to commend the Croatian Prime Minister, Mr. Plenković, for his long-term efforts invested along with other officials, for Bosnia and Herzegovina and our situation to be known objectively in European institutions and in representatives of European institutions. The peoples of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the differences among all of us and in the region are actually our biggest treasure and wealth, and we will never tire of efforts to revive and enhance all the links among us and common places among us. And we are also ready as Croats to invest all our energies to find future links and common points between us. But we will also insist on our right to be free to express our opinion as a constituent Croat peoples, and this is not nationalism. Dear colleagues, allow me to end on a positive note. The reason for this is in the improvements and achievements that Bosnia and Herzegovina has made over the last year. The implementation of electoral results of October last year has brought to the fact that the program coalition, accepts that all energy has to be invested into dialogue, compromises, and looking into the future and not fights and quarrels over the past. All the activities of Bosnian and Herzegovinian government and also with the President Mrs. Kristo shows that advancement based on partnership is possible, as well as suppressing just empty rhetorics, because separatism and unitarism present equal dangers for Bosnia and Herzegovina, which I would like to send and for you to understand. So therefore, I personally believe that the positive processes which have started in our country will gain momentum in the coming time, and my party, the Croatian Democratic Union of Bosnia and Herzegovina, will be the loudest spokesperson for the future, European future of our country, our new chapter in our future, and this is our determination. Your support for European Bosnia and Herzegovina will also be crucial in the coming times, so that we get a chance to open negotiations and show that we are capable of reforms and turning into a country of European values and future, and we count on your support in this respect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Lidija Bradara. Sorry for this wrong spelling. Now I would like to give the floor to Madam Tanja MIŠČEVIĆ, the Minister of European Integration of Serbia. I'm again telling you that we here giving the platform that we can provide objective read of every situation, and with the hope that we contribute to something positive, and with the hope that we don't contribute to something negative. Thank you very much. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kovatchev, and I'm sure that, I am grateful for all members of the European Parliament, especially EPP group, to invite us to speak and to present the case in terms of the enlargement process. And I'm sure, Mr. Kovatchev, that you were aware that from the very beginning, first invitation that you shared with me, I was more than happy to participate, yet I did not expect not to follow the agreed rules of the engagement here. We're supposed to speak about the content, not of anything else. This is not the place to discuss the status of anybody. The drama that we had only a few minutes ago is something that we saw all the time, that we are following very closely, yet it's not going to move me from and not going to make me not to present the case of Serbia, as Serbia gained the full recognition second half of 19th century and confirmed several times. So I don't have any problem to participate and to represent my country in full. I wanted first to start, or at least to have 3 points in that respect. First one being the role of EPP. I was consulting with the rapporteur for Serbia, Mr. Bilčík, and actually the biggest ever enlargement happened during the time when the commissioner was from the EPP family. And that is one of the important things for all of us to have in mind. I'm speaking, of course, about Mr. Verheugen. That means that that could be a driving force for the development, and in that respect, appreciate the discussion that we are having today. Second important thing that I would like to share with you is, of course, the annual or progress report that has been published, but for the first time for 10 potential candidate countries. In that respect, it is an extremely important moment. As we heard, historic moment, but it also added with the proposal of the growth plan, which is so-called accelerated integration. So how Serbia find the results of the report? 33 the areas for the accession negotiations. Only in 3 there were no progress because of several different reasons. But nevertheless, the most important is, of course, progress that has been seen in the area of rule of law. And for us, much more even important than only progress is the fact that we are now reading recommendations how to progress even further in the reform of judiciary, fight against corruption, and media freedoms. The Commission also noted the dedication of Serbia for the dialogue on normalization. Let me remind you that from the very beginning of our accession negotiations, Serbia got Chapter 35, which is dealing with following the implementation of all agreed agreements during the normalization process, with the aim to reach the agreement on comprehensive normalization. And that is the fact, and that is what the Commission is following each and every year. The Commission also noted that there is a slight upgrade in terms of the alignment with the common foreign security policy, and also noted that Serbia was the only one supporting the rebuilding of the electro-energy system in Ukraine, protecting the territorial sovereignty, political independence, and a good example of non-circumventing sanctions in that respect. So what I want to share with you is actually that we have the report that could be a very good basis for the not only the continuation of the integration process, but also that we find that there is enough room for even positively respond for opening another additional cluster. This is cluster 3, that is for the 3rd time fully prepared, said by Commission, for the opening. But let me finish on something which I find a part of Mr. Lazarov. I think he said a lot on the issue of the growth plan and the elements that are needed for being a part of the growth plan and the part of the accelerated integration. Do not forget that one part of it is the regional integration. And that is, for me, the biggest challenge of the accelerated integration. Not because we are not capable, we are. As we introduce the Rome as at home for the whole of the Western Balkans, so our youth can travel wherever they want all around the Western Balkans and not being pushed to switch the data exchange, which is extremely important. Then we signed, it was last December, if I'm not wrong, 3 agreements under the auspice of the Berlin process, 3 agreements which make the free movement of people much much easier. There are a lot of issues that we still can do easily. For me, I'm sorry that Ms. Lushaku left, but for me it will be very feasible to offer help and support to learn Erasmus bodies how to be good in using Erasmus Plus all around the region. We don't have any problem. This is a normal life. This is the normalization in its substance, how we can help to each other and how we could talk about more connectivity, more boosting the economy, and more interest for the investment all around the world, for the Western Balkans as a capacity for accelerating integration. My country is ready to seize the momentum. As being for 23 years now in the integration process, upgrading the process, but also upgrading our understanding of the importance of the integration as a tool for the reforms. So I will stop here and looking forward to the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam MIŠČEVIĆ. And now I have the pleasure and honor to give the floor to Madam Donika GÖRVALLA-SCHWARZ, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora of Kosovo. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kovatchev. Thank you for the invitation. It's for me, or should I take this microphone? I believe this is better, then I can look better to you. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really very honored to be here. The party whom I co-chair is conservative centered party, but we are not part of the EPP, so that's why it's even more a pleasure for myself being here among political friends and friends of Kosovo. Maybe before we start in the challenges of the region, let me introduce you with the fact that my father-in-law, who has been one of the friends from youth times with Helmut Kohl, is the last German member of the convention where the CDU, the Christian Democratic Union of Germany, has been founded. So EPP, CDU are a very important part of my political way, and that's why I really enjoyed very much being among political friends and feel like in my family. So, yes, the topic of this panel are the challenges that our region is facing. And while we really in the region are well advised to do, and we can learn there from Ukraine, Ukraine is in a war, in a terrible war, being very brave and very courageous in defeating Russia and defending their own country, but meanwhile working on the processes, reforms and democratization of the own country so that the EU perspective becomes a real one. And that's why I say always to my colleagues in our region, yes, we face a lot of challenges, a lot of problems. Security is an issue. It is a serious issue in our region. But that doesn't mean that we are not forced to use every second and every day that we have to have more democratic countries where the law rules and not open for tendencies and for influences from third parties who want to use our region to threaten the West, to threaten Western Europe, all your countries who are sitting here, and to use our region for destabilization of our whole continent. Because when we try not to be naive, then we must recognize that we are living in Europe, not only in the Western Balkans, in very difficult times. We have since 2022 the war in Ukraine, which we Europeans could have been preventing if we would have listened and looked exactly to the signs that Russia sent it to us. We have Nagorno-Karabakh. We have the latest attack against the Republic of Kosovo. from Serbia. And we have now the war Hamas against Israel. And we will see in the next months that more and more powers who do not agree with our democratic rules, with our way of life, will try to use this situation so that our part of the democratic world is with every month more busy and busy in defending our democracies, in defending our friends, our partners, and our way of life. So I say this so clear because we cannot continue with just talking about technical steps towards the European Union. Why can we not do that? Because the citizens are watching us. My children are in Germany, and they have a lot of friends with whom they talk about the accession of, or the accession of the Western Balkans to the European Union. You know what they ask them? Why should we take the Western Balkans? You are full of problems. You are full of security issues. Why should we move in building the bridges to the Western Balkans when you will not bring more security, but you will bring more insecurity to our region? And that's why we need to work even more in our countries, but at the same time, ask our friends in Europe to help us in not ignoring the real threats that our region is facing. There is less than 2 months ago when Serbia had an act of open aggression against a neighboring country. For everybody who is interested, I have a preliminary report of more than 50 pages where you can see exactly how the highest levels of Serbian politics, Serbian politicians have organized an act of aggression against the Republic of Kosovo. It was no, you know, when you talk with diplomats, they tell you it was an incident, and it's unlikely that this incident could have success, but an incident is different. It was a troop of more than 90 people with weapons for more than 400 people. And as you know, 400 people are able to start a war in our region. We have Kosovo in an insecure situation. We have Bosnia-Herzegovina facing huge challenges. We have situation in North Macedonia and in Montenegro as well that need to be discussed. So we urge all our friends, and I really believe that the EPP is the right place to start a tough discussion with everyone who wants to listen. We need a discussion about security. We need a discussion about you cannot pretend, and I say this for my country as for all the countries in our region. You cannot pretend in wanting to join the European Union, working on chapters and clusters, and not sticking to values and principles of the European Union. Because at the very end, every of our countries is so different, but it is one that unites us, all us who aim to join the European Union and the family of the European Union itself. They are the values and they are the principles that we all adore and respect. And among all, you have on first place to respect the neighbourhood, to respect the territory, to respect the sovereignty, to respect the peace, and not to contribute to new wars. If we do not understand the signs of today, if we do not give a clear answer to aggression against neighbourhood, then we will find ourselves again sitting in these rooms and talking about why did we not prevent a war like we did not prevent it in Ukraine. So it is still time, it is still possible. We have a process of dialogue with our neighbour Serbia, which is being mediated by the European Union. It is not easy, it is very difficult, but it is a process. We are engaged in that, and I believe that together with our European friends, we will have results. We have an agreement that, where we have agreed to respect the neighbourhoodly relations and to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of each other. And so, step by step, in implementing this agreement, I believe there is a good way on preventing further escalation. But it is important, and the EPP has shown in the past leadership in preventing conflicts in our continent. So we need your help, and we need you to be very awake and to have ears and eyes open and not to misunderstand what is really happening at this moment in our region. Because in the first panel we had the EU integration. I took the freedom for myself to answer to the question of this panel and to be open for any discussion, any question, or however you want to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this. First of all, I would like to thank you sincerely that this panel is happening at all. And that we can, in the EPP indeed, is presented as a platform where we would like to facilitate a dialogue, facilitate a solution, and peaceful together going on the European path. This is why I would like to thank to all of you. We know in Bosnia and Herzegovina we are observing for so long time the problem with the electoral law, with the participation of the Croats in the trio. That the Croats are not happy because of this electoral setup, and we know very well who said at the beginning in the first panel. Jorida said this about we cannot change history, and this is exactly what we see on all places. We cannot change history of the First World War, of the Second World War, but we can change the present and the future. And this is why the great ideas of Schuman and Monnet came to reality, that France and Germany will never be even technically able to start a war against each other. This is why our main place of the parliament is in Strasbourg as this symbol of European unity, that we should never again start a war between each other. Knowing the history, the young generation should know what is happening in Serbia, during the former Yugoslavia, everything in Macedonia, what is happening, we need to know. We need to have an objective read of our history, and I think we discussed it this morning that objective common European history book is very important for our youngster generation, that we do not go in the trap of nationalist and people who would like to manipulate history in their political interest. But saying this, I would like indeed to give the opportunity also to colleagues, but also to everybody to contribute for better understanding, knowing very well what is the history, and not only the old history, but also the very present history in the last months, what is happening. We need to have an objective read of every single event, what is happened, and what is negative, never to repeat. I saw three colleagues. Okay, first Michael Gala, then Angel, and then Alexander.
One question. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for all of you being here present. One question concerning Bosnia-Herzegovina. You had your elections already, and in comparison to the previous cycle, there is a government now, at least has been formed, and some steps have been taken. How do you see now the next months in the light also what the Commission said? Do you see that amongst, well, it's the two entities and the three communities, that there is a will to address it properly? Because, I mean, I've been here since the last century, so since 99. And we have seen so many efforts with regard to Bosnia-Herzegovina to get the deadlock overcome and to get the country functioning in a way that the people see a future and are not going away. So do you think that there is, after this election and in the light of this recommendation from the Commission, another spirit? That is the question to Bosnia-Herzegovina. And now we will have elections in Serbia in the 17th December, if I'm not wrong. I mean, of course, election time is a bad time for kind of dialogue with a neighbor. Can we expect after the elections, and regardless which government, if it's your party again or in a coalition or whatever, that the dialogue that is existing between you and Kosovo, that will get a new momentum. And I would wish that for both sides, in the interest of both, because you will be both in or not in. And I would like to have you both in. And so what can we expect after the election? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I suggest we collect some of the interventions and questions. So Angel Jambaski, then Vlado, and then Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Kovatchev. Dear colleagues, I prefer to use my own language, so I guess we'll need some interpretation, so please use your headphones. Благодаря, господин Kovatchev.
Thank you, Mr. Kovatchev. Thank you for organizing this event. I would like to thank all our participants from Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Republic of Kosovo. Unfortunately, our friend from North Macedonia seems to be too busy. He has left already. But I would like to make the following comment with regard to the success that was mentioned. It's good what we hear here. It is always true, of course, but we should say the following. The European Union and the European Parliament are doing quite a lot for the integration of Bosnia and Herzegovina or Kosovo. But at the same time, if there is a delay, it comes from the member states, it comes from the Council, and this is a problem, because this means that the hopes of these countries are dashed. And this is not fair. It shouldn't happen like this. The same applies to the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, where our friends from the Croatian community have a big problem with their representation. And this takes me to another question. Many of you talked about European values at the beginning, and this is great. We like European values, but we come to the right to self-determination. Everybody should be enjoying this right to self-determination. Definitely in the Republic of North Macedonia as well. But I'd like to ask what's happening in Serbia. I'm asking this question to Minister MIŠČEVIĆ. In North Macedonia also we have a problem with self-determination. The plan of the French president was voted on 1 year ago. That was a kind of a universal big plan, but we don't see any advance on this plan. We still do not know why is it that people are being persecuted because of their right to self-determination and their will to enjoy this right. Some of our cultural clubs have been attacked, and I should say that some of them was set on fire. Weapons were used, and setting books on fire reminds us of some other times in the 30s and 40s. At the same time, nobody was responsible and nobody was punished for this. I would like to ask Minister MIŠČEVIĆ the following, and I would like to hear her answer. Actually, I should mention what happened on the 8th of November. There was a group of Bulgarian citizens. There was somebody who is now the consul of Bulgaria in Niš. This Bulgarian group was stopped on the Bulgarian-Serbian border, and these Bulgarian citizens were not allowed on Serbian territory. They were forbidden entry. And we are speaking of a former MP in Bulgaria. This is the border checkpoint close to Bosilegrad. At the same time, what happened was that some Serbian police went into a Bulgarian cultural club in the same area and confiscated books from there. They confiscated books, Madam Minister. It seems to me that books were considered a threat in some other times, a long time ago. So I would like you, Madam Minister, to tell us all and to tell our friends from Western Europe who do not believe that such things are possible, please tell us, how is it that your government is confiscating books? Why is it that your government is banning entry to Bulgarian citizens who are not criminals, who are not smugglers, who are not dealing with any sort of traffic of arms or anything else? No, they're only having some books with them. I expect to receive a concrete answer, with all my respect. I do not want to hear the usual explanation that you will look into it. Thank you. Thank you.
Baski, only one sentence to add. This is indeed a very sad situation, because I wrote the foreword to this book, and exactly this book presents somehow of a problem for some people in Serbia. It's very strange for us.
There we go.
Editorial, yes. Vlado, please.
Thank you very much, and I really want to thank the group leadership and especially to Andrey Kovatchev for putting the conference together. I am indeed very pleased to see two excellent panels today, and I'm also pleased to see the three speakers in the panel this afternoon. Let me just underline one message as a response to the words of Ms. Bradara on Bosnia and Herzegovina. I can just say and echo our internal discussions in the group that we were all very, very hopeful for a clear message when it comes to the opening of accession talks. That message was clearer than perhaps some skeptics may have expected, but not clear enough. And I hope that that all the progress is done and delivered, so that indeed Bosnia and Herzegovina begins this. I think this is an extremely important message also to the region, because enlargement is back on the agenda. It's back on the agenda in a real way. I think whoever delivers in coming months and years can exceed the European Union. That is the message which was very clear also from the Commission. The seriousness with which enlargement is taken up, not just in this House, but across the EU institution, is unprecedented when I look at the past decade and a half. So it is a huge opportunity. Let me come back to Serbia and Kosovo. And I will raise this as somebody who has been the standing rapporteur for Serbia for the past 4 years in this House. I am very pleased that Ms. GÖRVALLA-SCHWARZ and Ms. MIŠČEVIĆ are here in the same panel. I think this is extremely important, because the only way forward is dialogue. And dialogue is the only way forward when it comes to European perspective of the region and European perspective of all citizens in the region. I want to underline just in response to what has been said here, we had a very clear resolution in this House when it comes to the events in Banjska. And I think this House said it very clearly. We need a full-fledged investigation. We need real conclusions, and we are all going to wait for that. And I think that's a message which has been echoed broadly and widely. And there is nothing which I'm going to say that is surprising. But I also want to raise a number of other practical issues. Because when it comes to the dialogue and elections have been raised by Michal Gala on the 17th of December, it's about the practical issues for the people on the ground. This is what matters. And my question is, when it comes to elections on the 17th of December, will all the Serbs who would like to vote and who are living in Kosovo be able to vote? This is, for instance, the question which, again, is going to be raised. And can we avoid a scenario which we had back in 2022 and maybe get back to the good practice from the years before? Because I know that the region is overtaken by identity politics. There are huge problems, but we are only going to move away from this if there is a degree of goodwill on practical issues. So this would be my question in terms of what's coming up in the elections. And a second point I'd like to raise here is that the whole dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina is not only closely watching this House, but has been underlined by the Commission's report, also in connection with the new growth plan which has been proposed. And my question is, what is your reaction to this? We are discussing conditionality when it comes to the internal EU funds used across the EU member states, and I think that's also a clear message when it comes to enlargement and the accession process. The growth plan is a huge opportunity. There is a chunk of money which could be a game changer for everyone in the region. At the same time, this is tied to real progress, and I hope this is also taken up as an opportunity. Those would be my remarks and questions, and thanks again for having this chance to discuss this openly.
Thank you very much, Vlado. And last one, Mr. Alexander Yordanov, please, and then we go back to the panelists, to the three panelists.
Thank you, Mr. Kovatchev. I will speak in Bulgarian. My language, Bulgarian. Balkan language.
First of all, allow me to thank you, Mr. Kovatchev, for the original topic of today's seminar. There is a saying in Bulgaria, if you want to be helped by God, you should help yourself first. This is exactly the same as what we've been preaching in the EPP for a long time. We've always said that the candidate countries should be assessed individually according to their effort, to their integration effort. So this means they should first and foremost help themselves, because there is what is known as the Balkan mentality in the Western Balkans, the local psychology. According to this mentality, there is always another way to achieve the goals, apart from the commonly accepted methods and approaches. Sometimes we rely on lobbying. Sometimes we rely on parties organized for different politicians. Sometimes we rely on bilateral talks. I want to be abundantly clear. The best thing with today's seminar is the following. We are now saying to the politicians in the Western Balkans that there is no other road to the EU. No witty games, nothing. The only way to join the Union is to amend constitutions, is to abide by agreements, is to abide by what has been agreed in the past. So after all this has been achieved, after all commitments have been met, you may expect to become part of the EU. I'd like to give two examples. I believe Serbia should not become part of the EU, irrespective of the number of resolutions we adopt here. It should not join the EU because it still behaves as Russia's Trojan horse in the Balkans. I'd like to pick up from what Mr. Dzhambazki said. A former consul traveled or wanted to travel to eastern Serbia in order to meet Bulgarians in this region. He wanted to present some scientific work to them. He was carrying 3 books and some other documents. He was stopped at the border and he was asked to go back. I don't know whether this was due to the fact that Mr. Kovatchev wrote the foreword. I don't think the border police were able to read any of these books. He was simply asked to go back because he was carrying books in Bulgarian. And my second example, North Macedonia should not join the EU as long as it systematically violates the rights of the Bulgarians in this country. And as long as it always pursues anti-Bulgarian policies. Mr. McAllister and Mr. Galler have heard many examples of this. Mr. Osmani was here not long ago, and he was telling the story of North Macedonia that can be set as an example for ethnic tolerance. How can this be true? Some years ago, North Macedonia was on the verge of civil war between the ethnic Albanians and the ethnic Macedonians. Bulgaria can be set as an example for ethnic tolerance because for 30 years now, Bulgaria boasts ethnic tolerance. Bulgaria, mind you, has no ethnically based parties. In North Macedonia, there are ethnically based parties. This is no democracy. Democracy means to integrate the different communities in our societies. Thank you for the attention.
Now, because we are already over our time, but this is extremely interesting and important. This is why, who like to start? I mean, does the same order? Okay, please. Sorry.
Hvala vam. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments and all your observations on Bosnia and Herzegovina. It was my desire to show the difference between the previous years and the 1 year after the elections in 2002. We are fully aware that the priorities that have been set before us are very important. We have worked on setting them for a while. They are known to us, so there are 6 key questions at the moment to resolve until mid-December. They are all open, they are known. On some, there is agreement on some of these issues. There are slight differences in opinion that I believe can be resolved. So I do believe that the key questions out of the 14 priorities, the 6 issues until December will be resolved in a positive manner. It is also important that you understand the complexity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. That is why I said that we have 2 entities, 10 cantons, 1 district. So in this complexity, this is most important thing for us is to adopt our budget to be able to draw the funds from pre-accession funds. So the financial help that we can receive from the EU is not to be used until we adopt our budget. So the budget is the key, so all the efforts of our government are aimed mostly at this. We believe that we'll have draft budget until the end of the year, and that then the issues that I have mentioned, the 6, will also be resolved in December. I assure you that Bosnian and Herzegovinian people understand the positive momentum in the EU and will work to maintain it.
So, Madam Minister.
First, let me swiftly answer to you. Unfortunately, I don't have a clear answer. That means that because I don't have a data. So let me assure you that the right of self-determination of persons as well as a proper reading of history is also our principle. So supporting yours, and we are also having the same principle in that respect. So I already discussed with Mr. Kovatchev. We will get you information, what happened, why happened, with the whole context in terms of both of us to understand what has happened in that respect. And I'm not giving you a rain check next year, but as soon as I'm back to Belgrade, we will dig more information for you. Let me agree with Madame GÖRVALLA-SCHWARZ on the importance of the dialogue, on the quest for the security, peace, normal life in the region, but also I would add to all of this, I think that we all agree on this, I would add people. And that is the bottom line on the normalization, dialogue on normalization. That's why we are pointing out on why it's so important to establish the Community Association of Serbian Municipalities after 10 years, in accordance with the deals that has been signed 10 years ago, because people are matter. I'm not saying Serbs, Albanians, Bulgarians, or any other. I'm speaking about people. And this is for me the most important thing, which should be the result out of the dialogue. On the question how the elections are going to influence the dialogue, well, on 16th, which is tomorrow, there is a new round, technical round of the dialogue. If I'm not part of the dialogue, but nevertheless I know that a lot of our colleagues are coming in order to go through the tough issues of energy, which is one of the pending topics, if I'm not wrong. But the dialogue will not be paused because of the election campaign, for sure. I'm now speaking on behalf of Serbia, not of the political party. I don't have a political affiliation. But also, I am sure that there will be, not only that there will be no pause, but that there will be even stronger pressure for the dialogue. One thing that I will not agree is the denomination in terms of what has happened on the 24th of September. But of course, that I'm not going to agree on this. Yet we are ready even to talk how to continue incidents of that type not to happen again. The fragile region does not need any fragile situation in that respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. And last but not least, Madam Donika.
Thank you very much. So I will start with help yourself, so God helps you. That is why we really are doing home a lot of work, not only that we become acceptable for the European Union, but the reforms that we are doing home, we are doing for ourselves, for our citizens, because our citizens have these expectations. Rule of law, democracy, economic development, reforming the educational and healthcare system. First of all, we are doing that for ourselves. It helps when it is as well requirement for a faster integration in the European Union. The European perspective helps the region a lot to move, but we are doing that for us, so that our citizens look to have their future in our country and not to look in which Western part of Europe they can go as soon as possible. Dialogue is important. Everybody agrees in this room, but everybody means something different when we speak about dialogue. Dialogue for me and for our country is to sit together and to aim to find a certain result that can be okay for both sides. This should be dialogue. Dialogue should be combined with results. A dialogue which is taking place while you prepare in your military compounds near your capital 100 people to attack the neighborhood should not be named as a dialogue, because we know even from the First and Second World War, during negotiations, there was no preparation for war. It should be clear. So, why am I saying this? Because the dialogue has brought some results. It is not that we have, with the Europeans, just sit and talk and bring nothing. We have an agreement from 27th of February this year. This is a basic agreement with 11 articles, 11 paragraphs, and Kosovo has accepted that. That day, Serbia has accepted that as well. So it is a good basis to start implementation and to start implementing that. After that, because Serbia was not ready to sign that same agreement, we went 1 month later to North Macedonia, to the city of Ohrid, and there we even agreed about the sequencing of the implementation. So we have a basis to move forward. Just days ago, the Prime Minister of Kosovo, Mr. Kurti, has been here in Brussels talking to the German Chancellor Scholz, to the French President Macron, and to the Italian Prime Minister Meloni. And while they were telling our Prime Minister about the urgency of having an agreement that brings results, our Prime Minister has proposed that we could, same day, that evening, sign both sides, because agreements are between both sides. You should not sign with yourself. If you are in a dialogue process, you need to sign with the other side. And he proposed to sign the same evening the basic agreement, the implementation plan, plus a new draft that the European Union has brought to Kosovo and Serbia about the association of Serb majority municipalities. We are not very happy about that draft, but if we see that urgency, that till end of the year, because of the geopolitical situation in Europe and the world, there is urgency, then why waiting? Let us sign. But the European Union was not ready and able to bring Mr. Vučić at the table to sign those. So, in the language of football, the ball is not on our side. We are ready to sign, even after the 24th of September, because we see that all the West is going in troubled times. So please help us, all those who feel friends with Kosovo and with Serbia. Help us to have this result. Help us to have the signatures, because the signatures should not be there to punish anybody. They need to be there to help, to be serious about commitments. We cannot continue in saying something in Brussels and saying something totally different when we go home in our capitals. Madam Minister spoke about the 10 years agreement. Yes, the implementation of 10 years agreement is part, among many other agreements which are not fulfilled from your side, it's part of the basic agreement. So don't set preconditions to start implementing. We have an implementation plan, we go for that, and then everything should be clear. But we need signatures under the documents, because the last months have shown us that the commitments in Brussels have not been serious. Otherwise, you will not go and attack with paramilitary squads your neighbourhood. We need to do something about the 24th of September. This should not become the next Crimea story. In small, not from Russia, but from a Russian proxy. So we need to deal with that so that it cannot be repeated. Mr. Kovatchev, while we are sitting here, 300 people are being trained near Belgrade for what? For the next attack? Or for what? We have informed all our partners in the West that this is going to happen. And they have the intelligence and they have the information. The elections of Serbia, as you said, these elections are in Serbia. Serbia has declared, the President Vučić has declared they will have elections at 17th of December. And I guarantee you that the Serbs in Kosovo can vote for these elections the same way that they are going to vote in your country, Slovakia. The same way they are going to vote in countries like Austria and all the others. We have a huge diaspora as Kosovo, and our citizens have the right to vote. It's not important where they are. We have found technical solutions how to make it possible. Even last time, we have shown readiness to find bilaterally a way, a technical way, how they can vote even inside the territory of Kosovo, beside the opportunity that they have to vote per mail. So we again would repeat that offer, but we need to sit and to find a solution, because it is Republic of Kosovo. We do not have elections. Our elections are 2025. And there, all citizens of Kosovo, Albanians, Serbs, Bosniaks, Turks, all the others will be invited to participate in the election. So from our side, we are even for the 17th of December open to discuss which can be, but to be very clear, we have no elections at 17th of December. The elections are in Serbia. Our support can be a technical one, but not a support that could set a question mark after the sovereignty and independence of Kosovo. And my last about history. Yes, history, we are all part of history, and history is part of all of us. And we should overcome historical conflicts, as we see with Germany and France, that this is possible. But in the case of Kosovo, the history is not our problem, because we do not have high expectations to Serbia to apologize for the crimes. Our problem is the behavior in the present, not in the past. And that's where we can do a lot of things to change that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Really, we are all over, but okay, Madam Minister, please.
Just very shortly, agree again that we need to speak about the present. It is clearly, and we can see that in only 10 days' time, not more than 10 days' time, that the clear wish from Pristina is Serbs to be banned from the places that they are living through the centuries. Even those who are buried are not welcome, because even them, they are moving all around the territory. Exactly why the question of signing anything was not on the table during the latest rounds of dialogue is the fact that Madam GÖRVALLA-SCHWARZ said an answer to Mr. Bilčík. So, why to sign anything if you do not respect something that you signed 10 years ago? Who signed it? Somebody who presented Pristina at that moment. the continuity is also one of the elements that any state has to prove. And the second reason, there was no intention to sign at all. From the very beginning, it was very clear that that will be part, for Serbia, part of Chapter 35. And that is what the External Action Service is doing now, preparing that as the benchmarks for Chapter 35. And I'm not going to go into the details of the allegations, but we heard 300, 100, how many hundreds people just now being prepared. Again, allegations we can hear all the time. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but this will be...
Really a very constructive question.
If it's constructive and we need to go to the end with a conclusion, okay.
I would ask every one of you, if you have any doubts about what the minister from Serbia is telling you or I am telling you, ask your governments. You are able to ask your governments. In the case of Kosovo, you have ULEX present, you have international institutions. Ask them so that you can get a more objective view and do not rely on different positions that we have at this table.
Thank you very much, and I really hope that this event contributes to somehow we can discuss openly and freely, and because we have it in our program, maybe for few sentences also as conclusion, what do you think, Michael, from today's event?
Thank you very much. I think it's important that we have had this event because we must take the spirit or the momentum of the political moment where we are in. The enlargement is back on the agenda, and we must embrace this opportunity in order to somehow there is a microphone. Yes. No, I don't. Somehow I hear another interpretation. That is my problem. No. Is it here? Sorry. So, no. Sorry again. I think we must seize the momentum and cooperate with all the partners. I'm now focusing on the Western Balkans because I'm 100% sure that once you are in, it will be better, you will be in a better position than while you are out. Because we can overcome tensions, we can definitely be in a position to, on the one hand, accept realities, and on the other side then, being inside the club, to enjoy the togetherness. It requires on both sides political leadership. Inside the EU, we must tell our voters, not only us European MPs, but our national governments must convince our voters that it is good to enlarge, that the situation, the global situation requires it, that Europe stands united, that there are no grey zones, neither in the Western Balkans, nor in Ukraine or Moldova, or perhaps also Georgia, so that all those who want to belong to the family have this chance now and to embrace this situation, this opportunity. As I said, to accept realities. We still have problems in Bosnia-Herzegovina. It was addressed, and I'm so sad to see that not always everybody sees the common perspectives and rather is on the individual community that he or she represents. That can be overcome. And in the relationship between Kosovo and Serbia, saying accept realities, and I see the point, of course, on the Serbian side. You want to be sure that you are in the EU on the track and irreversibly, and then you want to recognize Kosovo, because you know you will not be in unless you recognize it. But still I would recommend at this stage that you see the advantages of coming around earlier and to get a common ground within the current dialogue, where our colleague Bilčík is also heavily involved. I'm very grateful for that. We definitely, from the EPP side, we have the best will of all, I would say, to overcome the hostilities or the tensions. We have dozens of EPP politicians around the Western Balkans, in Slovenia, in Croatia, in Hungary, in Romania, in Bulgaria, who can actively be supportive. I'm not naming Greece because Greece has been so long in the Union. I think all those who experience the enlargement process are already in pension. But in the other countries, they are still around, I think, and can be helpful to all, because every country has a bit different challenges. But those who are here on the panel, I think they have the major differences to overcome. You can count on our good services, on our goodwill for all of you. But that requires mutual respect and understanding, and also to feel better when you have overcome by addressing the truth, what has happened, and feel free afterwards if you embrace the history for the better and for the worse, and also show leadership towards your own populations, wherever you are. So that all will have the future. The Serbs, the Kosovars, the Serbs in Kosovo, and also the other minorities that we have in Serbia. So, and all around, that majorities and minorities in their respective countries will know at the end we are all together in this European Union. And that is perhaps a perspective that everybody should share and draw the responsibilities thereof. So all the best. Please continue all dialogues. We will be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for these words. And from one sentence from my side, again, I would like to thank you for all participants for the participation, and would like again to offer the platform of the EPP group in the European Parliament. I hope when we invite next time somehow to be smoothly, and we can have dialogue which is leading to positive development for the future. This is our intention. We don't have any hidden agenda. We don't have anything what we others would like to achieve then for all 6 Western Balkan countries as soon as possible to become a member in the European Union. Thank you very much for being today with us, and we see each other hopefully soon. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.